Todd's Odds with Todd Fuhrman, our sports betting analyst, joining us from Las Vegas, Nevada. So two massive wide receiver trades in the AFC East this week. Davante Adams heads to the Jets. Amari Cooper heads to the Bills. And the Bills now a heavy favorite to win the AFC East. Todd, you giving the Jets any chance to chase them down?
I mean, I'll give the Jets a slight chance, Jay, but I think that roster, even with the addition of Davante Adams, is still a little bit flawed in terms of trying to be able to bridge the gap between them and Buffalo. Losing that game on Monday Night Football, absolutely heartbreaking. And I'm not sure what the Jets are going to do for an encore. I mean, they lose in London, they fire their coach. They lose in primetime, they add a big-name wide receiver. If they lose to the Steelers on Sunday Night Football, does that mean they sign Hassan Reddick to a record-breaking deal to try and bolster that defense? I actually think the Amari Cooper deal helps Buffalo a ton. It may fly under the radar a bit, but it gives them another bona fide wide receiver, and arguably he automatically becomes that number one threat, allowing Khalil Shakir to be a number two and opening up the middle of the field for their tight end in Dalton Kincaid.
All right, all four teams of the NFC North have at least 4 wins. The co-favorites to win the division are the Lions and the Vikings ahead of their matchup this Sunday. Would you pick the winner of that game to win this division, Todd, or do you actually see some value in the Packers or the Bears?
I won't make that leap just yet, Jay. I think when you look at the Lions from top to bottom, I'm very interested to see how they can replace some of the pass rush that they lost in the form of Aidan Hutchinson. His numbers have been off the charts over the last 2 seasons, and the Lions knew that they didn't have any of those complementary pass rushers coming into the year. So what did they do? They went out and signed Marcus Davenport. He's already injured. So now it's on Aaron Glenn to be able to manufacture where they're going to be able to create a little bit of havoc. The secondary, I think, has a higher ceiling that they can start to scratch with some young players, but I am worried about that stop unit. This Vikings team continues to be a great story. We want to monitor the injury situation with Aaron Jones. Even if he doesn't go this weekend, he'll be back out there and gives them a little bit more balance offensively. But right off the Packers and Bears at your own peril, I think the Bears have a long way to go. Their schedule will stiffen up. And as far as Green Bay, look, this team just continues to fly under the radar. Jordan Love's numbers don't jump off the page at you from some of the underlying metrics, but this will be the most exciting division watch from start to finish all season long.
Aidan Hutchinson of the Lions, he was looking like he was going to win his first Defensive Player of the Year award. Now he's out with an injury, and that means T.J. Watt is the overwhelming favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year this year. But is there anyone else further down the board, Todd, that you think might be able to challenge him?
I mean, Jay, I can say this comfortably without looking over my left shoulder and my right shoulder, since my diehard Steeler fan wife isn't actually in the state of Nevada right now. So I don't have to make a compelling case for TJ at such a short price. If you want to try and go for a long shot on the board, I think the storyline that we're seeing brewing in Green Bay is fascinating in terms of the overall impact that Xavier McKinney has had in that defensive backfield. I know it's tough for a DB in this day and age to be able to continue racking up interceptions at the rate we've seen already. But that would be a guy that I think is fascinating. If he can perform on a big stage, I know he didn't have a pick last week, but if he's able to bounce back with one this week against C.J. Stroud, maybe you take a little bit of a flyer there. But T.J. Watt is a disruptor. It's just wild to see how short his number is, knowing he doesn't have a sack in 2 of the last 3 games. Instead, he's resorted to forcing fumbles instead to try and build out that well-rounded portfolio.
I keep forgetting to toss my cards. I got another one. Here's a third.
I'm going to bob and weave. I'm going to bob and weave. Make sure I don't get a paper cut on the forehead.
That's exactly right. We don't want that to happen. Your wife will come back from her trip. She'll have a lot of questions. Okay, Todd, we got one more for you. Each week, you eliminate a team from possible Super Bowl contention this year. Here are the teams you have eliminated thus far. Todd, who are you adding to this list this week?
You know, Jay, I think a lot of people were surprised when 2 of the teams we eliminated early on were the Cowboys and the Saints, especially given how good New Orleans looked after those first 2 games. But what goes up must come down. These 2 teams have been down all season, and I don't think anybody believes that they are going to be Super Bowl contenders. So we're going to eliminate 2 teams tonight.
Wow.
One right here in my backyard with the Las Vegas Raiders. You trade Davante Adams. You wave the white towel after making the quarterback change. And I've seen enough of Levis experience in Nashville. 16 of 25 for 95 yards or whatever it was over the weekend. The Tennessee Titans are more destined to be picking in the top 5 than they are to be making plans for New Orleans in February. So Super Bowl licks will not see the Tennessee Titans or the Las Vegas Raiders.
That's probably sweet news to Titans fans. They gave up on the season a long time ago.
Jay, that card toss was more accurate than Will Levis has been throwing the ball more than 10 yards downfield. So you got that going for you, which is a step in the right direction.
It is terrific to really stick it to Titans fans. We've got one on our staff. Todd Fuhrman, you're the best. Avoid the paper cuts and have a great weekend, okay?
Always a pleasure.
And when we return, the On Rights and Wrongs, Canada's most popular sports television segment.